everyone. Welcome back to Monday's live that we do every Monday at 12 p.m. PST, 3 p.m. Eastern, right? 12, 1, 2, 3, yes. All right, so I'm just gonna let people get on here. If you're here for the replay, click replay or type replay in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope y'all are having a great day. All right. I wish I could play music like they do on other platforms. You can play music while you're waiting for people. All right. I'm just going to grab a few things. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. How are you guys? Tell me where you guys are coming in from. Welcome to today's masterclass. Hey Stacy, how are you? Thank you all so much for joining. Welcome in. We're just going to start in just a few moments. If you want to follow along with me, you can go ahead and get your favorite foundation since today is all about foundation. Hi Margarita. Hi Laura from Buffalo. Hey Marie. Hey Anne. Hey Loretta from Miami. I love Miami. So pretty. I need my glasses now so I can see. Hey Vanessa, how are you? Welcome in. If everybody wants to grab their favorite foundation or grab their favorite tools, that's what we are going to be talking about today. Or you can just sit and listen if you're at work or driving or late night scrolling in bed. Hi from Milwaukee. Hi Carita. Is it Carita? Welcome in. All right. And if you guys are joining me from the replay, thank you so much. From Milwaukee. Hey Sarah from Glen Rose, Texas. Well, if you guys don't know it, you are joining me from Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm so glad to be here with you from Indiana. Hey Stacy. So glad to be here with you guys today. This is a kind of a question I get. It's actually multifolded, so make sure you stay for the whole thing so you can get all of your questions answered. This is a age-old question of foundation, and I know honestly it has been getting harder and harder as I age to find foundation that looks good on our skin. It's quite frustrating. So we're going to start from the very beginning and start getting your questions together and let me know as we kind of progress what your questions are. Can you say hi to my friend Benjamin? Hi, Benjamin. Awesome. Welcome in. Okay. So Foundation 101. This used to be one of my favorite things to teach when I was doing a lot of red carpet with my celebrity clients, because they also are just like regular people too. We would sit and have chats while I was doing their makeup, and this came up a lot. And then if you can join me on Instagram, that's where you saw a lot of stuff from this weekend. It was my daughter's birthday, so Gray turned 11, which is so exciting. And also too, that's where you can ask a bunch of questions for me to do in a live. These lives are every Monday at 12 p.m. and it is where we do our masterclass. If you missed last week's, we talked about a simple eyeshadow technique with cream eyeshadows. Got some great feedback. And if you guys see your little hearts and things down there, if you don't mind tapping those little hearts, I'd really appreciate it. It helps others find us together. And you know what's so interesting is actually on, what day was it? Was it Wednesday of last week or Thursday of last week? I actually went to lunch with a girlfriend of mine, and we happened to find a makeup like studio or a makeup school, and they had a little store right in the front of the school, and they were selling all sorts of brands that I used to love when I was more of like a red carpet makeup artist. So they had brands that we don't really use a ton, like Inglot and RCMA, and of course Kevin Aquan, which I've used for years. But I got a new foundation, which I'll be doing for Foundation Friday next week. And if you do want to follow me along on Instagram, please do, because I leave for Salem, Massachusetts for a girls trip on Wednesday. So if you want to join all of the spooky fun that we have, I'll be posting a lot in the stories over there on Instagram. All right. So step one with foundation. is skin prep. I cannot tell you how important skin prep is. I am not talking about primers. I am talking about skincare. Now this is different. I miss Kevin Aquan too. Such a sweet boy. All right. So it's all about skin prep. We're talking about skincare. Now this is different in, and we'll get there, Stacy. Bear with me, okay? And please keep those questions coming. We'll talk all the way through undertones, formulation, application, etc. So skincare, if you do not prep the skin properly, really nothing is going to work, okay? And I'm just gonna be really blunt and really honest. I really highly recommend, and you guys know I've talked about this for ages, is dermaplaning. So whether you get it done by a professional or whether you do it yourself, dermaplaning is where they take the vellus hair off of the skin. My favorite tool is a dermaplaning tool. It's called, oh my goodness. Why can't I remember what it's called? I have it. Oh, what is the, I feel ridiculous. What is that product called? Dermaflash, there it is. You know, when you get older, your just brain just, I feel like, goes to mush, especially in premenopause, which I'm doing right now. So Dermaflash, I'll put here, I'll pin it for you guys. So if you're new to this live, you'll see that I start pinning products so that if you would like to, you can absolutely check it out there. Let me know if you can see that Dermaflash pin. And it is an amazing tool. Now what it does is it removes any kind of a barrier between your skin and your foundation. A lot of people have a lot of vellus hair and that can really interact with your foundation. So that can make it look gray. It can make it not lay well. So not everybody can do this, but I really highly recommend if you can't find a foundation formula that you like or get it to lay right, dermaplaning is the way to go. I have a video on my channel. Just put in Dermaflash on whenever you're on my channel's main home screen and I talk you through how to do it. It's very easy once you get the hang of it. Okay, so that is my first recommendation, is the Dermaflash tool that you see pinned here. Now, skin prep really depends obviously on your skin type and where you live in the world. I can't speak to everybody's skin type. I do still do the one-on-one 30-minute to an hour skincare consultations via Instagram video messenger. So if you ever want to do that, please Instagram message me over there and we can kind of do, you know, one-on-one what's right for you. So I can speak in general. For the most part, anyone in between their 30s all the way up into, you know, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, is going to focus on hydration. So hydration is really, really important because what it does is it plumps the skin and it also preps the skin for your foundation. Most of us are going to be using a liquid foundation. So when we don't prep our skin properly, the skin actually takes the moisture from the foundation and kind of sucks up that moisture, and then it makes it look dry and dull. So that is really why skin prep is so important. So of course, a general rule that we all know, I've talked about it a million times, is going to be obviously, you know, splash your face with some water in the morning or a very, very nice milky cleanser. We're gonna go in with an essence or two, or a little bit of gentle exfoliation by, you know, like a pad, and then you can go in with your essence, and then you're gonna go into a vitamin C or some sort of antioxidant serum, moisturizer, and then SPF. My favorite SPF currently right now, it's been for many years, is the Kinship SPF. I get that question a lot, which SPF I love. And the reason why I love it, A, is because it's mineral, but also two, I love it because it's hydrating. And let's see if they even have it. I don't think they do. But you guys know I've talked about Kinship. Oh, they do have Kinship. But they don't have the SPF, but that's okay. We don't need to worry about that. Okay. So now that we have our skin prepped appropriately, we're going to go into my opinion on primers. Now, I am old school. I have been doing makeup for a very, very, very long time. I was taught by some of the OGs in makeup artistry. It is really not a thing. That's a new thing, is primers. It's really there, in my opinion, for I guess a younger client, if they're super overly oily, I might use a mattifying primer in the middle. But for the most part, it's not something that we need to use on an everyday basis. Now, I will caveat this. If you live in a humid climate and you are a normal skin type, using a primer that is just like a basic primer, you know, one that's from like Bobbi Brown or a Too Faced or something like that could absolutely be beneficial to you for longevity. But skin prep is also going to help you with the wear of your makeup. Now let's get into a topic that I'd like to get into a little bit more in depth, but it's the combination of, does your skincare, i.e. your SPF, have silicone in it? And if so, then your foundation should be a silicone-based foundation. If your SPF does not have silicone in it, then you can use whatever foundation you want or whatever foundation formula you want. This is where we get into some of those nuances about pilling and caking up, etc. So that's why I have a tendency to go with skincare that has no silicones in it, and then I can use whatever I want. But if you're going to use a primer, you want that primer to be at the same base as your foundation. More foundations than not are going to have a silicone in there. So dimethicone or something with a cone on the end of it, the spelling of it is how you find that out, okay? So if you're going to use a primer, keep that in mind. That's how we limit pilling. Also, make sure there's about 5 minutes for your skincare to soak in your SPF before you choose your foundation and put it on. So put your skincare on and then brush your teeth and do your hair or whatever, and then you can go in with your makeup, and that way is another great way to do that. All right, perfect. So now let's get into choosing the right color and undertones for your skin. I think this is one of the hardest things. So I will say almost 99% of the time, I really highly recommend you go with a foundation that has a neutral undertone. So if you're going to go into the store or something like that, I just had a consult with a young lady a couple, like last week, about skincare and cosmetics. And I told her, I said, you know, I highly recommend you go into your nearest Sephora usually, because they have usually the higher quality of makeup artists that do work there. Ask for their makeup artist and tell them that you want to try on a neutral undertone foundation. And because most of us are not truly pink and not truly golden. Now, of course, there are exceptions to all the rules. So if you have a deeper skin tone, you are typically going to be a little bit more on the golden side or red side, which you would go with the more warmer foundation. And then if you more are like of the Irish descent, a redhead, you are definitely going to go with more of a cool undertone foundation. Now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to tell you how to try one on. So if you don't know and you don't want to ask anybody for help, choose around the same color, but you can choose a neutral, you can choose a cool, and then you can choose a more warmer undertone if you would like. This is the foundation that I just got. As I just said, I love Kevin Aquan. I think his formulations are so much more high than most people give him credit for. I know he's obviously no longer alive, but whoever is doing all of his stillest formulations are doing a really great job. Okay, I have a tendency to, for all my clients, I rarely carried a powder foundation. I rarely. I know it's a lot easier. I used to love the Laura Mercier baked powder that you would just put in there, but I don't. My skin is not perfect, and I swear you need like a perfect canvas to use that Laura Geller's foundation, you know, the one that's really glowy. It's great for a finishing powder over foundation if you want to, but for me personally, my skin is not perfect, so you still see all this stuff through it. I recommend using either obviously a liquid foundation, or you can also do more of the Korean version of this, which of course they have liquid foundations, but they have a pressed compact, which is a liquid foundation in almost like a mesh, and that is usually a lighter finish. Now pick the finish you want of your foundation. So you can pick your, glowy more neutral, like just every day, or more matte. That is really going to be up to you guys. I can't teach you what you want because that's going to be a personal preference. I usually go with a normal finish, or like it's called a satin finish, or I go with a glowy foundation. That's just the way I like my skin to look, so that's where I lean. And then as far as it's called a cushion compact, the Korean brand, a cushion compact. Hi LM, welcome. Everybody welcome. They are a new sub. Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us today on our masterclass for foundation. And then if you really truly want a powder foundation, I mean, maybe if you live in Florida and it's like the dead of summer, you might want to, that's totally fine. But usually a liquid would be just enough. I mean, can we just be real honest? Like if you live in a humid climate, even me living in the desert, my foundation is ridiculously hard to keep on. I mean, you're sweating, right? We're sweating. So I think we all need to have very realistic expectations of what foundation can do and how long it can stay on, etc. So now that we're there, I want everybody to take their current foundation, whatever foundation you have sitting in front of you, if you are the ones that got it, out. Take your current foundation, and this is going to seem crazy to people. I want you to try it on 2 parts of your body. Now, if you're like me, so see how I have a little bit of discoloration here, but I still can test it here. It'll be fine. But if you have a lot of sun damage here, I'm going to bring you over to your collarbone, and then I'm going to bring you from here to here, okay? Now, again, I have redness here, so that's why I have a tendency to make sure that I'm going to test it here, and then I'm going to test it here, okay? So I'm going to take my, if you want to know, this is the Etherealist Skin Illumination Foundation. It is in medium EF07, and it is a more neutral undertone foundation. I tried it on in the store. It was gorgeous. Okay, this is more of like a liquidy foundation, so just bear with me here. So take your foundation, open you up, and you're going to place it right here on your collarbone, and you're going to blend that in. Do you see? I'm going to move around. It's pretty undetectable. Okay? Yes, perfect. We're going to do the same thing, but here. And I'm going to blend that in to my chin and into my neck. Now, if anyone can guess why we do this, since we're in class, I will give you opportunity to while I get a tissue real quick. I'll be right back. LM, I'll get to your questions in just a few minutes. But the reason why we do this is because you want your foundation on your face to semi be in the middle between your skin on your face, the skin on your neck, and the skin on your chest, okay? So that's why we test it in these 2 areas. I will show you with the Lisa Eldridge foundation that I absolutely love. This is a heavier foundation. If you wanna know, I'm in 10 with Lisa Eldridge's foundation. And we're going to take this, and this is just a touch dark for me. Since she's out of the UK, it's really hard to test this, but I can make it work. So this is a little bit heavier foundation, I want you to see, but this is a really nice match, usually for summer, but it's not that bad, it's not that off. If it disappears, then it's a good match. Thank you, Stacy, for bringing me back. Yes, it is a perfect match if it goes away. You don't want to see, now this again, this is just my, my own 2 cents, my own educated 2 cents. You do not want to, hopefully your foundation is not detectable. It blends in seamlessly. I just want to show you guys, okay? So that is a darn good match too. It's a little bit more detectable because it's just a touch off from my skin, but really no one would notice except for probably me or you doing your own makeup. So we want it to disappear. We want it to be undetectable. And that's why I like a formula that is usually a light to medium coverage. When we're talking about heavier coverages, that's when it gets a little bit hard to really make it undetectable, okay? Foundation is there is to even out skin tone. I think we've kind of gone a little far to one extreme with foundation at time to time throughout the decades. But we are coming back more into a seamless finish. That's what we call it, is a seamless finish. I hope you guys can see. If this is helping you, hit those little red hearts. Thank you for those that are tapping them now so that I can help you really understand. So you can see that this is a much better match than this one because it's basically undetectable. Yes, yes. So when you find a foundation that it is completely undetectable, then you are good to go. When we're talking about foundations, I get questions on Instagram all the time about what's my undertone? What's my undertone? It really doesn't matter your undertone. For most part, like I just said, most people are going to be in the neutral range. But if you really want to know, go outside, look at the veins on your leg, and see if they're more blue or if they're more green, okay? And that's how you can tell. More blue is cool, more green is more warm. If you have a combination of both, then you are neutral, okay? Which is the general public. I don't think, like I said, I don't think I carried a true traditional cool or warm foundation unless I was dealing with somebody that was of deeper melanated skin, because that's important. So that is how I go through and find the right foundation for myself and for my clients. Application is going to be all about your own personal needs. And Stacy, let me know if you have a few more questions about that match, okay? So about your needs as far as how to apply them. Rule of thumb, hands are going to be, for the most part, for most people, the best coverage and the easiest way to get a seamless finish. What I like to do, and I'm gonna show you without a beauty blender today because let's do something a little different, okay? So I'm just going to give this foundation a nice shake. All right, and then we're gonna put this on. Okay, if you have your foundation, you can do it with me. I'm gonna start in the middle of my face, okay? Because this is where we want most of the coverage. This is how we make it undetectable. And then we are going to spread it all over the face. I put one little dollop of this, so that's also important, is you don't want to go in super heavy-handed right from the get-go. And then you bring it all the way out to our ears. A lot of us don't bring it all the way out to our hairline and down our neck just a touch. And it's just whatever's left on my hands, you guys. I'm not adding more. And then that way, most of the coverage is in the center of the face, okay? And then it blends out as we get to the outer edges. Yes, okay? Most of the coverage is here, which is what we want. I love it. Isn't that a gorgeous foundation? All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you that you can also go in and you're gonna take just a touch. See how I always have some redness here that I'm working on with my laser therapies, if you guys are following me on Instagram. This is where I'm having, you know, a lot of redness. So I'm gonna go in and I'm going to work this foundation into my skin. You can use a beauty blender if you truly want a more glowy finish, as well as a beauty blender is going to give you a thinner coverage. So it's gonna give you a lighter coverage. So this is the coverage that I probably would end at. If you feel like you want more coverage than something like this, go for it. You can do a little spot with your hands, a little bit more foundation in each area. Or what I like to do is, there are so many different brushes. I like a nice little dense brush like this. It has nothing on it. You can do the same thing with a beauty blender that is either dry or very, very, very lightly damp. And we're just gonna pop in and press this into the skin. This is extremely helpful if you have fine lines, or if you have areas, especially around the mouth, where it collects and up on the forehead. And what this does is it meshes the foundation into the skin. It also is going to pick up a little bit of excess product on your brush and really helps it make it look like a second skin. And you can do this in between your layers of your foundation. So for example, like if I wanted to cover up a little bit of this right here, that's my dark spot that we're working on, and maybe give a little bit more coverage right here. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna tap it in. Now, the reason also too why we tap it, I am not always going to be blending it out after it's already on. We tap it to push it into the skin. Yes, of course, you can tap it in with a brush, but fingers are always going to be the best policy for me. And I'm just going to tap this in. What this is going to do is it's not going to move the foundation underneath it. We are just pushing it into the skin. And then this way, other parts of the face have a lot less foundation on them than the parts that we want to conceal a little bit, okay? And I'm just kind of doing that. I'm red because I've been using my hands on there. That'll go away a little bit later. And then you can just go in. This step is really not necessary, but it's a great way if you have a problem blending foundation into the skin, is using a tool like a nice brush that has nothing on it, or a beauty blender that is either dry or very, 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 very lightly damp, okay? But do you see the finish that we have on the skin? What are we thinking? I think it looks really great. I think it looks like skin. It's covered it up enough for me. That's kind of where I'm at. Now, when we talk about staying power of a foundation, thank you guys so much for those hearts. I really appreciate that. Interaction means a lot to me. And when we talk about longevity, for me, I don't love powder. This is not my jam unless it is the finishing powder. Like the Laura Geller, you can use as a finishing powder. It's their pressed baked powder. Thank you so much, LM. And then also too, I love the Hourglass finishing powders. Sephora, their actual brand, makes a baked powder. A baked powder is one usually that goes like this, as like on the top here. That's a finishing powder. That's fine. You can also use setting sprays. That is great. That's how you can make it last all day. But again, let's have realistic expectations with skincare and makeup. It is a topical product. It's not bulletproof, and you might have to touch up throughout the day. That's why I like to use a little less powder so that my touch up throughout the day is a little bit easier. So if you guys, let me see if I can find this. Let's see here. I will pop this in the description box if you want me to, the foundation, because it is kind of incredible. And again, I will be doing a foundation Friday next Friday with this, but you guys got to bear with me. I am going to Salem on Wednesday. So if you want to join me on the Instagram, you can follow me there. So I just did tag it. So if you want to take a look at it, and if you're watching this on the replay, it's going to be just down below here, or in the box where people talk. Okay. So let's answer some questions here while we have the next 5 minutes together. Please put your questions in. I love I love questions. I love to answer them on the fly. Okay, so LM says, I have an oily T-zone, so typically use a matte foundation. However, I notice I have dry patches, especially around the nose. Is it skincare maybe? Great question, LM, great question. So we did talk about in the beginning skin prep. Skin prep, it's going to definitely, whenever you have an oily T-zone, still prep your skin that is not for the oily parts. So I think you're lacking hydration because you're trying to compensate for this oily T-zone. So prep the whole skin nice and hydrated, not overly hydrated, but nice and hydrated. You know, what we talked about in the beginning of this video. And then what you can do is you can do a little bit of mattifying primer in the T-zone area. That's what I usually recommend. You can pick anyone. Wet n Wild makes a great mattifying primer. I mean, Elle makes a great mattifying primer. It does not have to be expensive. Just use a little bit of primer in these center areas, and then that way your whole face is still prepped for hydration. Make sure you get around the nose. And then I would actually urge you, if you don't mind me making the suggestion, to use a foundation that is more on the satin skin finish. So don't go matte, because the rest of your face doesn't need matte. And I don't know how old you are, LM, but most people's face doesn't need matte. So I would recommend going with a satin finish skin, or something that says a skin-like finish. And that usually is not overly matte. It's not overly glowy. It just is supposed to look like skin. This foundation, in the name, you guys, it says Skin Illuminating Foundation. That is very Elle, okay? I have a tendency to gravitate towards very glowy skin. That's just a personal preference. So most of my foundations are gonna have some sort of type of something that leans that way, all right? I usually use a good water cream and sometimes a serum too. So LM, I urge you to go back to some of my skincare videos. You're gonna wanna prep your skin with a little bit more than just cream. If you're new here, I'm so glad you're here, but we always subscribe to an essence, a good antioxidant during the morning. Serums are a must, and then your cream, and then your SPF. And then that way you're nice and hydrated, but with not too many heavy layers, which also can impact foundation the way it lays. Oh, you're 40. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I would definitely go more towards a satin finish or a more of a skin-like finish, and then try with a different skincare routine, as well as try with a different kind of primer underneath. All right. Let's see here. Stacy says, my trouble finding the correct undertone. Yes. So Stacy, let me know if that helped you with that. Let me know if that helped answer your question for the undertone. So let me know if Sarah, Vanessa, Carieta, Loretta, Anna have any other questions on this topic. Also too, feel free to put in the comment section foundation. You are so welcome, LM. No problem. Absolutely, anytime. This is a community that we learn at. So put in the comment section, and even if you're watching the replay, it helps people to know what foundations work for you. So maybe they'll say through their, I saw, one of our Elle Squad members try this, and so I'm going to try that. So, if you want to put that in the chat right now, your favorite foundation, so that can help people. Also too, I have Foundation Friday. It's a playlist on my channel, and I've done it for 10, 15 years. So you can look through that and get some recommendations as well. I've done all different types of finishes. So yes. So let me know if anybody else has any other questions. And somebody asked me this question on Instagram. So hopefully you catch this in the replay, or you are here now. And then I will answer any other questions that you have. So while people are thinking for questions, did you guys have a good weekend? Look at that. I got foundation on me. Oh, cool. I will check the Foundation Fridays out. Yeah, no problem. I have a bunch of playlists on my channel. Like I said, it was Gray's birthday this weekend. My daughter is 11. Hey, Eugene. And so we went to Meow Wolf. We had a birthday party. It was so much fun. So I hope you guys had a great foundation. I hope you guys had a great weekend as well. But let me know, this is your time to answer questions, or have me answer your questions right now without paying for a one-on-one with me. So let me know. Or if you have questions about something else too, we can dive into something a little bit before we go. Thank you so much, LM. We're so happy to have you. Thanks for bringing the good energy today. Thank you, Stacy. I appreciate it. Eugene, I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. You're also a fall baby. Yay. I love October. Love October. Yay, yay, yay. So awesome. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I try to keep these lives to about a half an hour so everybody can watch the whole thing through and not have to commit too much time. But the videos, thank you so much, Chrissy. I appreciate you. Nice to see you. But this will be the only video we have this week due to traveling and then Mom having her birthday this past weekend. But you will have a whole new slot of videos next week, as well as a live. Please join me next Monday for our live. Please put in the comment section. Thank you, Stacy. Comment section what you want me to talk about next week. I never run out of ideas. Thank you, Lisa. That feedback helps me so much. When you guys tell me how helpful these are, it keeps me going. It keeps me feeling like I'm really helping you guys out, because that's what I'm here for. So Lisa, I really appreciate that feedback. It really, really helps me. But put in the comment section below what you want me to talk about for next week. I can talk about anything you want. So every Monday at 12 p.m. PST, 3 p.m. EST. And Thank you. Thank you so much. And if you guys want to join me in Salem, come find me on Instagram. Okay, blush placement for a more mature skin. I love that. So keep those coming in the comments section, even in the replay. Please keep those in the comments section so we can do another great informative masterclass. And oh, look, there's 2 blush placements. So let's have everybody sign off on that. Let me know if that's something that we want to talk about. And we can get through that, because that's going to be a great way to demonstrate it together. So if we do that, make sure you're prepared next week to actually try it with me. That's when it's the most helpful, or replay this and try it on your own. I know, I love that too. Okay, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a great week, and find me on Instagram if you want to follow me to Salem. I leave on Wednesday. All right, you guys, thanks again for being here. Bye.